Well, hello there, cadets, and welcome to another edition of General Howitzer's Big Monster Briefing Room. We have an interesting show for you today, don't we? Okay, let's go ahead and bring up Major Millie Hazard.
Good afternoon, General. It's good to see you. I always have to remember where I'm from. I'm from Yonkers, so I have to always remember where I'm from, and I'll call you later, have some coffee talk. That's how I remind myself. Yeah.
He saluted you because he's not really a 4-star general.
I'm a little bit nervous about my salute today. I'm getting a little bit nervous about my salute, but nervous. I think the word is. I'm nervous about my salute, but I'm going to try it, General. Are you able to do it? Are you able to?
What, his salute or mine?
I don't know.
You're supposed to salute me first.
There we go. I'm a little nervous.
This is mine.
I'm a little nervous today.
All right. We're going to talk about The Thing with
Who's
two
your
heads.
Friend? Who's your friend? I don't understand.
This is just somebody hanging around. You're just hanging around, right? Yeah, he just nodded. I don't think I'm going to be able to keep him on for much longer. I have to perform an operation real quick. But we have a very special guest. This movie actually stars Academy Award winner Rory Penland. And, he won the Academy Award for Lost Weekend where he was drunk. I think he was drunk when he made this film, too, when he agreed to do this film. And Rosie Greer, the athlete. So it's an interesting film. And we have a very special guest to talk with about this film. And that is media mogul, social media guru, Dennis Tardon. Let's bring him on.
There he is.
General, Major, it's a pleasure. It is a pleasure to join the Corps today.
Well, I'm retired, but I do want to thank you for your service, sir.
Oh, it is my pleasure, sir.
There we go.
It is my pleasure, ma'am. And it's a pleasure to be able to be here because I've learned so much when I was in the military and when I went to military school, and it's a pleasure to be here to join you both.
Thank you. Thank you. As you know, in the Big Monster Briefing Room, what we do is we try to advise people on how to protect themselves from monsters.
Yes.
During the show, we do a timeline for a training film. This one is a 1972 training film. The production value is it's up and down. The gorilla in this film, there's a 2-headed gorilla in this film, was done by Rick Baker, who's a very good makeup effects artist. This was one of his earlier films when he just started doing movies. But you'll see there's some stuff like this going on in the movie. You'll see it in the pictures when we do the timeline. We'll talk about that. But what I wanted to talk to you about first was the social aspects of this movie. Yeah. Because the movie itself, it was at the time when they were doing a lot of blaxploitation films. Mm-hmm. It is supposed to be a science fiction horror movie, a la Frankenstein kind of thing. But there's a lot of social commentary in here.
Well, of course, because you're talking about a man who wants to live longer, and he's a very rich man. He also happens to be very racist. And so he goes into the lab to be able to do that, and they need to find him a body. And so they want to eventually make it so that he's able to live inside this body, so he has a new body. But the only way that they can do that, or as far as the technology is concerned at that time, is to graft him onto the body so that he could have, and that is how we get to the fact of grafting his head onto the body of the healthy Rosie Greer. And so now we have the social commentary during the time of having a racist grafted onto a black man during this time, which is a great piece of comedy to go forward.
Right. And a great piece of commentary. So again, it's very cleverly crafted. And again, when you watch this film, it seems kind of low budget, drive-in theater kind of fare, but there's a lot more to it than a lot of people give it credit for, is what I'm saying.
There is much. General, I agree with you. There is much more, and the fact that, I mean, I would love to have, I don't know, have you been able to go back to find anything about Ray Milland talking about why he would do this film? We all have
No.
reasons why we do, but I would love to know that. I mean, that's the thing that most impels me. I would love to know that story.
Well, again, he was not needing work at the time. He was doing a lot of television show appearances at the time, and he was doing parts in movies and stuff still. So he really did. It wasn't because he needed the money. I don't believe. But no, I have not found anything on the internet yet as of this as to why he agreed to do this, because it is kind of a strange career move.
Exactly.
For him at that
But still,
time.
I would love to know that. I would love to know whether or not
Maybe
his
again he saw the
children
layers
or
in
someone
this.
who knew him at the time and is still alive. Now, what year was this, General?
72.
So this came out in 1972. So we've had the Summer of Love. We're going ahead into the blaxploitation films. Here we go.
Yeah. So, and again, maybe he just agreed to do it because it seemed like it would be fun. You know, a lot of times actors will do that.
I don't, you know, I agree. I agree. And it is a very high concept. And it appears, because I just rewatched it recently, and there's a lot of it that is deliberately cheesy, but some of it is, of course, budgetarily cheesy. And the
Right.
rest of it has a sense of it as if they know they're not taking themselves seriously, and they have this on it. It works on many, many levels.
Yes. All right. So let's go ahead into our timeline. At the very beginning, we see that this is an American international film. Samuel Z. Arkoff is the executive producer. He's produced a lot of really low-budget films that actually became cult classics. The opening credits, the thing with two heads, looks like an episode of Columbo. It looks like a TV movie kind of thing. But there it is. Perhaps this was just kind of, I remember the Billy Jack films had these kind of credits on the front of them too. So maybe it was just a low budget credit thing in movies. At 1:30, 1 minute and 30 seconds, we meet Dr. Max Kirschner, played by Academy Award winner Ray Milland. He's in a wheelchair. He's obviously not
He's
feeling
dying.
well. Yes, he's dying. And at 2:30, we meet the two-headed gorilla. And one of those heads is Rick Baker, the special effects makeup artist. And the toupee is on Ray Milland. So at 4 minutes, we meet another important doctor, Kirshner's confidant, Dr. Philip Desmond. Now, he's good, okay, but he's not excellent, as Kirshner says. And yet, he is the doctor that's going to perform the operation that puts the head on Dr. Kirshner.
Yes. This is another character actor. We've seen this man in many, many character roles.
He's done a lot of TV stuff, yeah. Yes, indeed. I can't remember his name offhand. I should have written it down, and I didn't. We also meet another doctor. My notes. Okay, so anyway, they prep the two-headed gorilla for an operation. He escapes, knocking Kirshner over out of his wheelchair. And though he's at death's door, he barks at his men to go and get that gorilla. Now at 7:20, we watch the gorilla as he heads through the Hollywood Hills. This is the best part of the movie for me. I mean, they could have made the rest of the movie the thing with two heads about a two-headed gorilla, and I'd have been happy. And there he is. Again, wonderful work. Rick Baker would later become the King Kong in the 1976 version of King Kong. And that's what really made him famous. At 8 minutes, he enters the Sunrise Market. Now, nothing clears out a mini market like a two-headed gorilla.
Nothing.
And they go in and they track him down there, and he's in the produce section, and he's chowing down on some bananas. It's banana time. Now, here's a lesson learned. Feed your two-headed gorilla before the operation so they don't run off.
This is my favorite part of the training film, to be honest with y'all, because what happened was that they didn't even say anything, and the camera just went on them, and it was like awkward. I feel like it was a little awkward. that we saw it there. It was
It was
the editor was a little hesitant to remove himself from that shot, but it's a very funny shot.
I love the look. I love the
I
look
know,
of
the
the
look
gorilla.
is-
The gorilla just saying, like what?
What
Like,
are you talking about? What
the
are you
gorillas the gorillas are like low key freaked out. Like they're what you're right. It's like, what are we doing? We're eating bananas. That's what we do. We're a two-headed gorilla. What's your problem? What's your problem? Back up. They have a lot of chutzpah. I feel like he has a lot of chutzpah. Now, do we say plural or do we say,
It's
because
chutzpah.
it's
It's chutzpah.
chutzpah. That's right. Thank you very much. And then the thing with two heads is singular, but this is really two beings. So shouldn't it be the things with two heads? I don't know.
Yeah.
You've got to think about it.
That's what's weird. That's what's strange about this film is because they call Rosie Greer and Ray Milland the thing with two heads.
Right. It is that they are a thing that
They're
has
a thing.
two heads. They are, and just like this gorilla is a thing with two gorilla heads. It's that head has been grafted onto him. Correct, General?
Yeah,
that's correct.
Well, I'm the scientist. I like to say this every show because people don't really know, but I'm a what do I say, General? I'm a scientist. I have the lab coat. I went to real universities.
Went to real universities,
degrees.
yes.
I got real degrees. I'm an actual, I'm a lab man, as they say in this movie. I'm not a lab man. I'm a doctor. When
he's putting his nose in my ear. He's getting fresh.
That's what everybody's saying. We need some more General noises. Take some peach tea, General. It's gonna be all right.
You want
Dennis,
some?
you don't know this, but the General drinks peach tea during the show, and he gets a little wild, and then he makes noises. And then the cadets.
She likes it when I make noises. I don't know why. She likes it when I make noises.
Everybody loves when you make noises. Everybody. They're weird noises. They're noises I feel like the thing with two heads might make. But
you're knocking my hat off.
Let's go back to the timeline.
Okay, so the important part of the film is 9 minutes. We meet Dr. Williams, who is actually actor Don Marshall from Land of the Giants, if you recognize him. So he's quite a prominent actor. He is excellent. Unlike Desmond, he is excellent, not just good. But however, I don't know if anybody caught that. But however, he's not to Kirshner's liking. Kirshner is a bigot.
Yep. And he theorizes this because he's black, but what he says is, I've got this contract. I got this contract right here. Correct. He stands up for himself. He says, look, I got this contract. You can't do this to me. It's because I'm black, and you're going to deal with it. He's a very powerful character. He's very confident.
Yes. But yes, Max makes it very clear he doesn't like minorities. That's where we really learn this. At 10 minutes, Dr. Kirshner decides that he doesn't want Williams after all, and Williams argues that he does have a contract, and he makes Kirshner agree to that contract. The other staff seem appalled at their boss's behavior, which is also good to take note. In 13 minutes, the gorilla's second head has been removed successfully. Now it's all Rick Baker. Kirshner and tells Desmond about the operation, and it's operation time. He says, I want you to transplant a head onto my body. We figured out how to do it, make it work. Not this one, but there.
They're going to transplant the Ray Milland character's head onto the gorilla?
No, onto a human body.
Okay, so what's the gorilla doing there?
The gorilla was just the test. They tested the operation, the procedure on the gorilla first.
Got it. Thank you.
So the gorilla's second head's been removed. It worked. Everything's fine. The gorilla is he's safe. He's comfortable.
No. All right. Now let me just make sure that what you're saying is that so they have made this turn. They have taken a new gorilla's head and grafted it onto the old gorilla. Then they take the old gorilla's head and remove it and leave the new gorilla's head on the new body. So you now have a new head on a different body.
Well, actually, if it's going to be like the Ray Milland operation, they would put an old gorilla's head on a new body.
Absolutely. But that's what they want to do. They want to plant his head onto a different body.
Right. So that he knows it's going to work with his old head going onto a new body.
Got it.
Which is a medical miracle because this is a big advancement.
Correct.
So that's why the
big advancement.
1972, and we still haven't done it yet.
Yep.
They show the alignment. The doctors are very proud to show that they aligned the severed cord and to repair that, which is very, very intricate. It's a lot of intricate work.
Yes.
Well, and that's the thing is the spinal cord is the toughest part, I would imagine.
Exactly.
Otherwise,
That's
you'd just
what
be
we find
paralyzed.
out from this training film. It's a real
But
training film,
even if you could transplant an old person's head onto a young body and they would be paralyzed, they'd still be alive.
Yes.
So just saying.
it'd still be an advancement.
Unlike this guy who's just dead on my shoulder.
Right.
It's a little disturbing. It's a little disturbing.
It's a little disturbing. So, okay.
I love Dennis's reaction. There was like a micro expression. It was like, "Yo."
No, it's just I just imagine General Howitzer asking for a little head.
Well, and this is the problem. You get this.
And then this is what you get. I mean,
to-
you got to be more specific, General.
And he doesn't even know how to wear his hat right. So, okay. So I just thought about this 10 minutes before the show. I was like, I didn't have a link. I was like, what can I do? Hey, I know. I'll just put a head on a pole and stick it down my back.
The cadets are loving you, Dennis. the cadets, we always have like a little delay of a couple of seconds, and then they start hitting the keyboards and they're freaking out.
Yes.
You like that, cadets? You like that? You see that, Joseph, Cadet Joseph?
Well, and people would ask, why is Dennis Tardon taking time to do this show? He was the one who actually brought this movie to our attention.
Exactly.
Yes.
And
I wanted credit, so this is how I get credit.
People say
he knows a lot about this film.
Exactly. Continue.
Is Major Hazard okay? Cadet Farwell asks. I'm not really okay. I haven't recovered. It's very funny. It's very funny. I wanted to say, yes, for new fans, because we have so many new fans in here, we do greet you in the replay squad. Dennis Tardon is the reason for the season. So Dennis Tardon is a media mogul, as we say here in the captions. And he is also a founder of Tardon Media. But he's been in broadcasting for over 4 decades. And so everybody on this network.
Very old.
Everybody here on this network.
Very old, decades in the media.
Decades in the media, and so he's what gives the credibility to everybody here at Cosmos and Tardon Media, and it's all a wonderful thing. So everybody, if you don't know him, you gotta Google him, and you're gonna find out a lot about this man right here. So.
I've been Googling myself since I was 12.
Yes, he has. I can vouch for that.
Coffee talk. Yes, Madeline greets you, Dennis. Madeline's a big fan of you.
Thank you, Madeline.
You shouldn't be saying things like that when he's nuzzling my ear this way.
I can tell he's getting very fresh with you, General.
I'm going to have an operation soon.
The General's getting a little more excited than usual.
I'm going to have to call the Me Too movement on this. No. So, okay. So Desmond, he tells Desmond about the operation. Desmond doesn't seem to like this is insane. Why do you even think about doing this? He just agrees with it. He's kind of a lackey. And Desmond actually is the one who goes and gets permission from the governor's office via Mitch. He's only referred to as Mitch. Even on IMDb, he's only called Mitch. He's a politician. He's in the next slide. And he agrees to let them do this transplant operation as long as they keep it on the low key. They don't talk to the press about it. They don't tell people about it. So
we have a cadet asking about Dennis Tardon. I knew his name looked very familiar. He produces on Orchid Times too. Yes, of course, Orchid Times is on Tardon Media, and Dennis is our executive producer. He's the reason for that show, and he also directs that show. So yes, people are recognizing you.
Yes, but no, she's not here today. But Renée Yaworsky is the showrunner and director of that show. I'm the executive producer, and I love the idea of being executive producer because that means I sit back and go
with a cigar.
That is
you have a cigar.
Yeah.
There's a little cigar there.
noises.
And this is all, and this is all an executive producer does. That's all. Everything that happens, Renée is the one that does it. But other than that, it's just.
Somebody.
I think I heard that at the end of a Beatles song once. About you know my name.
That was the back. Yeah, the backwards one. Paul is dead and blah 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 blah. That's right. But he also directs the 2 show hosts there as well, Lily May and Linda Rose. So he does do directing on that show. Okay.
He's moving.
Uh-oh. He's getting a little fresh with you. He's getting
and now
fresh with
I think he wants people to see him more. So he's
What is
nudging
his
the hat
name?
to get it off his head.
What
What's
is
that?
his name? What is his name, General? And what's going on with his
Fred.
eyes? I feel like he needs to go
I'm
to
calling him
ophthalmologist.
Fred.
Okay. Where's his hat?
Yeah, his eyes are kind of rolled up in his head, which means the surgery probably didn't take very well. He's probably having a little trouble seeing.
Okay, let's get back to the timeline.
Okay, yes.
Let's let Fred do what Fred's going to do. We'll contact HR
Fred,
after
just
this.
be nice, Fred.
Yeah, thank
be
you.
nice to me. This is my first affair, so please be kind. All right, so the governor, the assistant governor, I guess you would call him, he's cleared through the governor, and everything's a-okay. They're ready to go. So, at the prison that's close by. Okay, we'll go forward a couple of slides.
You got it.
That's Mitch. The warden tells the prisoners on death row, "Hey, you can be part of this wonderful, great transplant operation, and you'll avoid going to the electric chair." So Rosie Greer, thinking, "Hey, this will buy me some time because I'm innocent." His name is Jack Moss. He decides to donate his body to this project.
And they don't tell him what to expect either. They don't tell him what to expect. They just say, you're still going to die at the end of this 30 days. And but you're going to know that at least your body is doing something for science. But they don't say you're going to be on a racist.
They don't say,
hey,
we're going to put a racist head on your body.
They don't really go into detail. They go be bickering,
And I don't think they even realized.
I don't think anybody was prepared for the thing with two heads. I don't think so.
I think Desmond knows. And of course, Kirchner knows. But nobody else really knows. And the guy in the next cell is just so ecstatic. He is just jumping all over the place. Mm-hmm. So I think he's just one taco short of Fiesta Platter. Hey, there we go. 91 attachments. Yes, there are 91 pictures in this time.
I hope everyone sees how many attachments that we have right there. It's a lot. Speak amongst yourself for a second. Dennis, what would you like to weigh in on Fred? Can you weigh in on Fred?
Why did they choose, of all the prisoners on death row, did none of them, I don't remember, did any of them, all of them, none of them volunteer, or only the Rosie Greer character?
Yes, only Jack Moss, which is Rosie Greer's character, agreed to the operation, agreed to give his body to science for the operation.
Okay.
So Desmond even points that out. Desmond even points that out in a few minutes when Max wakes up and finds out he's on a black body.
Yes. All right.
Yes. Okay. So Kirchner is slipping fast. He is now the old doctor in the plastic bubble. You remember around the same time they came out with the boy in the plastic bubble?
Yes.
John Travolta? Yeah, well, now he's the old man in the toupee in the plastic bubble.
And isn't that wonderful? I mean, I love this shot because there is no CGI at that time. There's no character computer generated. And so this is all real stuff. They had to get police cars. They had to get them from wherever the set and to get them to be able to do that. I love that. What is going on? Okay, now.
He's nipping in my ear.
All right, good enough.
So yes, the police arrive at the doctor's house because they decide to do the operation in the dirty basement of his home.
Right.
So I know they scrub it down, but it's still a dirty basement. Not quite sure why they did that. I guess it was because he's just about on death's door, and I guess they couldn't transport him to the hospital. Not sure why they did that. But at 24 minutes, 15 seconds, with a ton of nurses, there's like 8 nurses in that shot alone. There were a lot of nurses in this movie. I mean, I guess they figured, we'll go for the audience who are into nurses. I'm not sure. But there were a lot of nurses in this. 26 minutes, the operation begins. Desmond is working on Jack's left side of his neck, but Max's head is going to go to the right side. So, and kind of to the back. So that's kind of weird that he's working on the left side of the neck. I thought that was strange. 27:30. What? Is that supposed to be Ray Milland's head? It has the same bad toupee on it, but gosh. 30 minutes, Kirshner wakes up and he finds out that Desmond has put his head onto Rosie Greer's body. And his eyes snapped open there when they were putting his head on.
Mm-hmm.
So Kirshner's not happy. Again, he's on Jack Moss's body. And remember, he's the Archie Bunker of the medical world here.
Right.
So, when he finds out, he actually feels the hand and brings the hand up to where he can see it, and then he makes Desmond pull out they have a full standing mirror in the basement, which is kind of handy, and he's able to see himself. And Desmond tries to explain, hey, this was the only chance we had. He was the only guy that donated his body, because Max thinks it's a joke. He's like, what is this, some kind of joke? What did you do? So, and then Dr. Desmond calls in Dr. Williams, who agrees to help out reluctantly. He doesn't know that the transplant involves Kirshner. So being a doctor in good standing and excellent, most excellent, he's decided to help out. And everybody's living in the house. They've all got a room in the house. So Jack wakes up. He anesthetizes the nurse, or he puts her out to get away. We find out that Kirshner is a snorer. He's snoring during this whole thing. So after sedating the nurse, he starts to make his way up the stairs. And then he realizes, hey, my clothes are right here. How convenient. His clothes are right there behind the mirror. So there's a word of warning to people who are going to do a two-headed transplant down in a dirty basement. Don't put the guy's clothes in the basement with the body.
Oh yeah, because this is the thing that's not believable about this. Everything else is fine, but that's really the point of contention on where the clothes are. Holy Christmas, General, come on.
I'm just saying.
I mean, really,
I mean, that was
that's
just
what
so
you're gonna. That
ultra-convenient.
is what you're. That is exactly what you. What that's gonna be your. That's gonna be the hill you're
clothes-
dying on. Oh,
Are those
the
clothes
clothes
anesthetized? I don't
behind the
think so.
mirror.
I mean,
That's
are those
the one
clothes
you're.
sanitized?
You're gonna argue with. Oh goodness, General.
Tell him, Fred.
Sheesh.
That's when it stopped making sense. That's
Yeah,
when,
up until that time,
That's
I
when we
was
were out.
totally with you. I was
with
I'm
you
telling you,
everywhere.
all
until
through this
that
thing, that
moment.
nothing makes sense here. Nothing makes sense. You thought they were going to put his head on a gorilla body. Come on, nothing makes sense here.
The cadets are saying that they should sing Ebony and Ivory together. That would be the peak moment of the whole thing. I
There we
agree.
go.
They should have ended the whole training film with that. That would have been fantastic.
Except that we all know that comedy is conflict, and the fact that you have the conflict of how unhappy he is to be, and at the same time doesn't the Jack character, isn't he trying to prove his innocence?
Yes, he knows that he's innocent, and this is
He
gonna
knows
buy
he's
him
innocent,
30
so
days.
now he is out to try to prove that he was really no longer, which gives us that dramatic impetus.
But as a comedy, him running around with Roy Penland's head on his body in a dressing gown would have been interesting.
Right, especially if that
It made more sense.
And don't you just hate that where it's like when anytime that you see a medical drama and people in dressing gowns get up, they aren't open at the back like dressing gowns are. You wish that would happen. That you just see have the open dressing gown.
Well, I'll accept that crack for now.
Yes. Thank you,
Okay.
General. I love that I would give you an opening and you'd go for it.
Well, we try to work off each other, just
Thank
like
you.
Fred and I.
I feel like Fred should be a series regular, General. It's just my personal input there.
Well, again, we will certainly, if he has other movies of this ilk that he's very into and he knows it, we'll definitely have him back on. Sure. He's a great guest. Jack overpowers a couple of guards and takes a gun. He takes Williams as a hostage. The shock of a multiracial two-headed thing is quite an element of surprise. And they have kind of like I don't know. We wear those when we have like whiplash, right? After an accident.
No, can you go back one, please? I love the belt. You were during that. You don't remember it. Neither one of you were alive during that time, but I was, and those belts were very, very popular. The big belt, and he has one on his neck.
It's
Well,
just
okay
too
then.
it's too much. Like it's just it's so wonderful, and it's so 70s too. If you see how wide it is,
Very exactly.
you
That
see
was the
like the
70s. It was the
yeah,
fashion,
like
the
a
leisure suits,
leisure
leisure
suit.
suit,
Yeah.
and all that. And that's
Yes.
the wide ties. You can see there
Yes.
that wide tie
Wide
and
polyester
Yes.
tie.
It just puts you right back into that time period, which is just
yeah.
so awesome, you know. And of course, I always want to say this about whenever I think of Rosie Greer, I think about how he did the book about knitting. I don't know if you guys know
Needlepoint. It was needlepoint.
needlepoint.
It
Okay,
was
needlepoint.
needlepoint, and he was also he played for the New York Giants. He was a
Right,
defensive lineman for
football.
the New York Giants and the Los Angeles Rams.
And he was also present when RFK was assassinated. He was actually right there
Exactly, with
during the
Sirhan
assassination.
during that time. Hmm.
Yeah, so he's a very important, I feel like he's a very important character in history, a very important person, Poison. Uh, sometimes I forget where I'm from. But yeah, it's an interesting thing. And then he does this movie, which I always found was so interesting, you know? But
All right,
anyways, all
continue.
right, let's
Just called me an interesting tumor.
I
That's what I
think
read in the
I think
thing
that
there.
was Fred. I think we're talking about Fred, not
Well,
Bowman. but
Fred thinks I named the head after him.
I think you did.
My father's name was Fred.
Oh, okay. Okay. So what are we looking at here?
Okay, now, and here's the other thing. As far as clothes goes, if you had any doubt that this was a comedy before, this guy on the left is in his red jammies. He ran out of the house for a car chase with Dr. Desmond in his red, flannels.
Right.
So there you go. So
Urgency,
he didn't have
urgency.
All right.
clothes
So they're
conveniently close
trying
to the door.
all right. So Jack has escaped,
Yes.
and they're trying to find him.
Well, they're chasing after him. Yes.
Yes,
They got
exactly.
Williams driving the car. They've taken him as a hostage. They've driven off, I guess,
Okay.
in Williams's car.
All right.
And yes, Desmond chases after them because
right.
Nobody's called the police at this point.
All right. Go for it.
So somebody's got to help get the police attached to this so we can have a nice big long police car chase for the rest of the film.
Right.
And that's where it happens right there. A police car passes by. Desmond gets out of the car and says, "Hey, that's Jack Moss, the killer, in that car over there. Just don't even pay attention to that second head. That's him." So the police go chase after him. There it is.
Yes, they do.
All right.
Jack takes the wheel of the car because he's not happy with Williams's driving.
Mm-hmm.
And luckily, Max doesn't take control of the body. He doesn't have control of the body yet.
Yes.
When Jack is awake, he completely has control of the body. That's very important for this film.
Okay.
And there's the police cars. The police cars begin to crash. They start to crash. The first police car is out, the first of many. I'm surprised they didn't play banjo music during this car chase. 46
All right,
minutes.
so who's in control in this shot?
In this shot, Jack is in control. Kirshner's being a jerk. He's like a backseat driver, but he's in the front seat. Well, kind of. Maybe he is in the backseat.
No, I meant as far as let's play the reality. And playing the reality.
Jack is in charge here. He is in control of the body.
As long as he's awake.
Right.
How do we know that? What is the evidence that proves that?
Well, because obviously Max can't stop anything from happening.
Right.
He just comments.
He just comments.
Desmond explained to him earlier that he probably won't get control of the body for about 10 days. That's what he says.
Got it. So he has. So that's the plot point. All right. Continue.
Yeah.
Okay.
So again, the trio get a flat while they're running away from police. They drive over a fire hydrant, and they end up on foot going up a mountain away from the police.
Wait,
now these guys just had a major operation.
Wait, can someone remind me why? I apologize for forgetting, but why are they on the lam? What's the plot?
Well, it's because Jack wants to
Why
prove
are they
his
suddenly
innocence.
criminalized? I mean, I don't understand. I mean, I felt
Well,
like
He
this was
is
all.
a convicted killer. He is a
Yeah, but this was
convicted.
all done under supervision. Isn't this authorized? This was authorized.
In the car, they're
No.
talking about, he's going to take his head off in a few days, and then, he's going to be dead.
Right.
So now he's trying to escape to prove his innocence, so they won't cut his head off and kill him.
Right.
I guess that's his
Okay.
rationale.
Oh,
You know?
okay. Okay, so I
He wants
I'm
his body
remembering
back.
now.
Right.
There's so
He
many
only agreed to
layers.
do it because it would give him more time to try to clear his name.
Got
There's
it.
so many nuances to the storyline here. I'm getting confused.
I get it. we get it.
It's a little confusing.
I mean, I would love
sometimes.
to be there in the writer's room. I
I
know.
know. Yeah, let's do this. Now they run up the hill, and then the cops are gonna do this. It's
Yeah.
like it's really
It's
riveting.
a great. All right, continue, please.
And I love that. And again, I shout out to whoever edited this film, because there's a lot of like really like exciting parts, and then there's like a lot of like slow parts. I feel like the editor was a little drunk. Not to be.
I think they were all drunk.
I think everybody here was like doing LSD or something. But anyway,
And Fred is whispering in my ear to join the dark side. I'm getting worried. He said, "Join me and we'll rule the galaxy." So these guys are on their way up the mountain. When they get to the top of the mountain, there's a helicopter, by the way, that's joined the chase.
which is a very 1972 helicopter.
That is. Looks like the Batcopter.
It looks like MASH, actually not like
Yeah.
MASH. But
Well, this
little
ups
bubble,
the
little
production
bubble.
value.
Yeah,
This ups
I
the
love it.
production value. Attack of the Killer Tomatoes did the same thing. They put
Was
a
this in
helicopter in there and
Burbank?
made it look like $1 million movie.
Was this in Burbank? Does anyone know where this was filmed? Was it filmed in
Oh.
Burbank?
I
Can
know
say
the gorilla scene
Burbank a
was
few more
shot.
times? I feel like I need to say Burbank a few more. Every time Dennis, what you don't know is that the cadets love when they try to find words that I can say in the accent. And I think Burbank is one. I think that was going to
Yonkers.
have Yonkers. There's been a few of them. Yeah. Burbank. I love it. It's great.
Can you think of any words that she could say that would
Can
definitely
you think of
point out
any
the fact
words
that
that
she's
you
from
could-
Yonkers?
I love when we stumble upon them. It's like, it's just a great thing. Yonkers. Burbank.
You're
Okay.
amazing.
But
You're
it does look
amazing,
like-
Hazard.
I'm absolutely amazing. Everybody loves me. Yeah, that's true.
It's true.
She's very confident.
5130.
This one, Major Hazard is very confident. That's like different. She's very confident about her degrees, her education. She likes herself.
Her lab coat.
Her lab. She's very proud of the. What is this? She's very proud of the name.
I don't have my name tag on today. I
Oh,
put him
that's
on
okay, 'cause a
instead.
friend. Yeah, well, that's better.
I put him
That's
on
not-
instead. But
Yeah,
I am
that's
wearing my black tactical outfit today
Yes,
for this
General.
movie. For this
That's
movie.
right. And look at how did they film this? Can anyone guess how they're filming this right here? Is that a Fred situation? What is that?
Yes. Well, obviously in scenes like this, yeah, there's just like a head like this on his shoulder. It looks like,
Yeah.
kind of looks like Ray Milland.
Yeah.
Ray Milland only has to be there for the close-ups. So, which obviously he gladly does. From the top of the hill, they see motorcycles. And of course, they get one. And looniness ensues. Should I say looniness or lunacy?
I like looniness, I think
Looniness.
that's fun to coin
Yeah.
the term,
Again, I'm waiting
coin
for
the term.
banjo music. Motorcycles crashing all over the place. Incredible monster reactions. People running from the thing with two heads.
Which I really think should be the things with two heads. They do have two distinct personalities, they're two different souls, two different people, but I digress.
They both have feelings. Come on.
They both have they bicker a lot,
The
when
fact
they're
that you're
eating.
calling them things doesn't affect them. You can call them things. There's two of them, by gosh.
I don't know if we should be taking umbrage to the fact that this is umbrage.
Each one has a mother.
I don't know why this really. I love this training film, but to call him Big Monster is a little, probably a little not PC. I don't know if they're actually.
Have you seen
monsters.
Rosie Gray up close?
He's a brick
My
house.
God, he's a beast.
house. He's a brick house. There you
But
go.
he's
not
not
a
a
very
thing.
gentle. But he's a very
He's not a
gentle
thing.
man. He's
Yeah.
a very gentle man.
That's true.
He's a gentle spirit. It's a very
did.
loving, gentle
He
spirit.
did. So police give chase again, and squad cars begin piling up. I should have checked this film's credits to see if Hal Needham, the director, was maybe a second unit director on this one. He's the one that does all the car chases in the the Smokey and the Bandit films and such. Again, the reactions from the people on this when they see, a three-headed or a two-headed guy with a guy on his back. So there's three heads in one, riding a motorcycle. Precious, priceless.
I love that motorcycle.
So by this time, Desmond is on the phone with Mitch again. Mitch is not happy. He's basically committed political suicide because now it's all out and about that his actions helped to create a two-headed monster, killer monster out there. 58 minutes, more police cars, a lot more.
This reminds me a little bit of the Blues Brothers with John
Yes.
Landis. It's very Blues Brothers, John Landis. You wonder what the budget. I mean, someone could Google that, but it's like I wonder what the budget is. A lot of police cars had to die to make this film. I thought the Blues Brothers was bad, but this is probably second place for destruction of police cars.
There you go. Well, yes, there's a lot of police car destruction in this film. That's for sure. But if you think about, well, okay, that's pretty much a really wrecked up police car. I was going to say, when you think about it, we don't really see a lot of. I mean, we see police cars go awry, but you don't see them actually crunched up. But that one, yeah, and then that slide showed up, proving me wrong.
And then look at this. You can see it looks like there's a fishnet stocking or something over the. Does anyone see that? It's a little disturbing, that particular one.
Are you talking about over Max's head?
Yeah. Do you see that? I mean, is it just me? I don't know. It looks a little.
Well, I'm concerned because he paints his hair and his beard on, so. Jack shows up at his girlfriend Lila's house, who naturally wonders, hey, how the heck did you get another head of an old man on you? She asks if you've got two of anything else, and they all laugh.
It's a very funny line. It's a very funny line.
Yes.
107, Lila is not keen on having sex in front of Max. Well, that's understood.
It's another awkward moment. It's very awkward.
Yeah. That's when she asks him if he has two something else's. Yeah, Max is not being nice. He's not being nice at all. He's being very grumpy.
He forgot
I can see that.
But he should be grateful, I mean, that's the thing. I think that's part of the commentary running here is that instead of being so grateful that he's this medical miracle, he gets this extra lease on life, he's just pissed off all the time.
Well, he just had a major operation where his head was put on another body, and that body took him out into the fields on a motorcycle. He does have a little license to be a little grumpy.
He has a little license, and the cadets are already going to the Google. IMDb doesn't specify the budget. Thank you. We always appreciate. We have very studious
Thank you.
cadets.
Thank you.
Fred, thanks you. So yeah, he's not being nice here, and the others, because he's not being nice, are all talking about, oh well, we're going to get rid of your head, which makes him even grumpier. So now, when he's asleep, he realizes he's starting to take control of the body. He's starting to get control of the hands of the body now. He's getting control.
The plot just thickened.
Yeah, well, and at dinner time, he's he doesn't like soul food. He's made it very clear, and they're teasing him about it because he's being racist. And he smokes at dinner, which is the reason why he got into this mess in the first place. And that just goes to show you, you have people who have like the tracheotomy thing in their neck, and they're like, "Hey, can you give me a smoke?" And they smoke through the hole,
Yeah.
It's just a terrible, terrible habit. Just a very nasty habit. So they go to they decide that they are going to cut Max's head off the body. And they go to a warehouse for medical supplies to see if they can get the medical supplies they need and pick the lock and go in. So again, they're breaking the law. Even Williams is breaking the law here. But he does believe that Jack is innocent. But then he takes control of the body. He knocks out Williams. He knocks out Jack, and he calls up Desmond and says, "Hey, prepare to operate." Desmond is at the hospital now. He's not at the house, and the police evidently have moved from the house to the hospital because there's no police there when Max shows up. There's Max driving now. Max is now able to drive the car, and luckily for Jack, Williams wakes up, calls Lila, and they go after him. Williams knows he's going back to the house. So they go after him. And they go down to the dirty basement. Rosie Greer is still asleep. Jack is still asleep. And luckily, before he's able to, he anesthetizes him to make sure he doesn't wake up. But before he can cut the head off, he's going to do the operation himself. Williams and Lila show up and save the day.
He is going to do the operation himself.
What could possibly go wrong, right? It's just one of those things that
Absolutely.
just makes
They established in the beginning of the
Absolutely.
film.
And I love the idea of that he's going to apply anesthetic, but he's going to stay awake.
Of course.
Yes. He only anesthetizes the head.
Oh, yeah.
The other head.
No problem. He's got it. Got it under control. Don't
like
worry.
Novocaine. It's like
He's
little
got
Novocaine.
scalpel in hand. He's ready to do it. And evidently he's lost his old age shakes and rheumatism because he's on a new body now.
Yes.
And which he has control of now. Right, Fred? Fred's
that's
not
what's going to happen with Fred. That's next gen.
But luckily, William shows up just in time, and he finishes the operation, and it doesn't go the way Max had intended it to. So there he is, stopping him from making the cut.
Mm-hmm.
Williams does the right thing and calls Desmond and says, "You need to get over here right away to the doctor's house." And when Desmond and his nurse and the friend shows up, they find Max's head on life support, and Max is pleading with them to find him another body. And from what we heard early in the film, they've got 24 hours to do so. So it doesn't look good for Max at this point. We reap what we sow when we play God.
Mm-hmm.
So now here's the weirdest, funnest, most dumbest part of this film. The last shot in this movie is Williams, Lila, and Jack in the front seat of the car, all in the front seat of the car. Jack is not only woken up from the anesthesia completely, he's very alert, but he's singing and dancing in the front seat of the car. He's moving around after having a big brain or head surgery. They're getting down to some gospel music. Oh, happy day. Oh, happy day. Bring me out. Okay. How do you feel about that, sir?
That's the end. This is the end. This is the ending shot I've forgotten.
That's the ending shot.
This is the ending, but I'm
dancing
having some
in the car.
I'm having some plot issues here. So what is this, what is the takeaway? What is the takeaway from this? Can someone help me understand? I mean,
you can recover instantly from having, a surgery where somebody has taken a head off your body or put a head on your body.
But did Max ever have an evolution with his racism?
He only had 24 hours, right? Or we're assuming that the 24 hours ran out before he was able to get the transplant. Are we assuming
Best case
that, or was
scenario,
there,
he's only got
or was
24
there
hours left? Yeah.
Or was there a planned sequel?
I think they could still do a sequel. I feel strong about this. I feel like they need to have a sequel. There's so many loose ends. There's so many questions.
In today's world of Hollywood, I would see a reboot, maybe. A reboot where two other people do the thing with two heads. Yeah. There actually are like a half a dozen of these two-headed creature movies that came out around the late 60s, early 70s. Oh. The Man with Two Heads. There are others.
All right. Well, I want to thank you both, General and Major, for allowing me to be part of this process, because I know when I watched this, I was stunned both by of course, having lived through the 70s and to see what they were doing, but also to be able to see that an actor of the stature of Ray Milland would spend time on just the idea of the acting exercise of spending time, just like you and your alter ego there, of spending time because we know how much is in a set, how long it takes just to shoot a little bit of a movie, a little bit part of a movie. So how much time did they have to spend together? The behind the scenes of making this movie, to me, would be as fascinating or more fascinating than the actual movie, because just knowing that they would have to be together during all that time, what did they talk about? What did they talk about during makeup? How did they relate being during that? It was just, to me, it's fascinating. I would love to know more.
Knowing Hollywood as I do, Ray Milland, with his status at that time and his age, I guarantee you he probably wasn't on set for more than 2 or 3 weeks total.
No, but during those 2 and 3 weeks,
Everything else
he was glued. I
was
know,
done.
but still, but
behind the
during those
scenes.
2 or 3 weeks, he
Yeah.
was glued to the back
That's my
of Rosie
question.
Greer,
That's
That's
and
what my
was
question
right
is.
here.
Like they're
Now,
smelling
how
each
many
other.
people? How many people do you see? How many people do you know that would have to spend that much time with someone during that? I just think that would be fascinating.
And I think that's
I
where your
wanna
neck
know.
belt comes in. That's how
The
they were
neck
able to
belt,
get him
the
up
mel- it
close
all
to
comes back to the neck
get him
belt.
up close to Rosie Greer for those front shots. The back shots, it's just a head that they've got on Rosie.
Oh
Greer.
yeah, that they got, but still, for the
With the same
time that they're
toupee.
for the time that they're talking, how much makeup time did it take from the time that that he walked into the makeup trailer and then had to go and sit together during it, because that would take
That's my
hours to be able to
question.
get them that. I'm just talking about just from a two human being perspective. It's a fascinating thought.
Thank you. That's exactly what I was thinking. I think you're speaking for everybody. That was what was on my mind about bad breath, about having like what is going on. It's such a like intimacy, but they're like, and I want to hear from Rosie. To be honest, I find Rosie very fascinating as a person.
Right.
I want to hear what this was like for him, and also as a black man to
Right.
be exploring this and to have these racist
I,
things.
I would
being
love
said
to
him.
know that. And also, if you know who smelt it, dealt it. It would
Yes,
be
or
awful.
how do you know which one of
how
them?
do you
How
know?
do you know?
It wasn't me. Oh, come on.
I
How
don't
do you
believe it.
don't
That's
even?
a lot of
You
this. It's a
can't
lot of
do
that.
that.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
I think that's it. There's so many questions. I wish they would do a behind the scenes or like a whole documentary about this. I would love to watch it. I have
It would be
questions.
it would be certainly more fascinating just from the concept to completion. This is one that asks more questions than it answers.
I think
Right.
right. And I think that they should have woven in some kind of racial awareness that Max would have had, that he evolved. I think they missed a big one there. I think that would have been really good.
Major, I think that the fact that they don't.
Says more.
I mean, I
Does it
could
say more
certainly
that they
see.
don't?
No, I'm because I just don't think evolution happens quite as quickly as you would in your
Yeah.
little. And you know, because it would take a
You're
lot.
little.
He's going through a lot. So have to go through racial awareness training while he's going through this project,
It's a tall
perhaps
order.
might be just a little much. You might want to let HR
I
come in a
demand
little
it.
later.
I demand it. I think we could have pushed him to that limit. And someone said, I will thank the Lord. I was wondering who gets the fart blame. The thing with two butts.
The
I
thing
want to
with two
see
butts.
the thing with two butts. Thank you, Cadet. I think that'd be wonderful. Now, here's the thing. We're getting ready to go here, but I want to say that in about an hour, we're getting ready for a very special No Icing with Drita. Everybody's
Yes.
been so excited about this. So we want to welcome Uncle Nino, who's from Jersey Shore on MTV. He's going to be coming. It's his first time on Cosmos. We're very excited to have him. And we're going to be introducing him to Hollywood Walk of Fame star owner, Billy Vera. Billy Vera's going to meet. They're all from Staten Island. Sandy's from Staten Island, Uncle Nino, and Billy Vera. So it's going to be an amazing time. Renée Yaworsky's going to be there. I think.
I'm so glad. I've been missing where she been. I'm so glad she's.
Yeah, it's hard to get a hold of her these days.
Isn't it? It really is. She is
so busy.
MIA. So I'm glad that she'll be there.
She'll be there. And General, I don't know if you can speak to somebody else who will be there. There's also another surprise guest who's going to be there.
Okay. I hear that they're going to have a character, Father O'Hennessy, on the show.
A priest. They're going to have a priest coming because these are Catholics.
Thank God. The priest, then perhaps he can bless the enterprise, because I hear it's going to be wonderful.
It's going to be wonderful.
Those wonderful, crazy kids at Cosmo Creative are going to be able to be putting on another show.
Isn't that wonderful? So we'll see everybody. Please come back if you're a Jersey Shore fan, if you're an MTV fan, if you're a reality fan, everybody. But we're going to do our... Dennis, can you remind us of how to do this, please?
It's a pleasure to both General, Major.
And thank you for your service, Dennis.
Thank you.
We appreciate you.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye-bye.